to start off with primer. So the primer that I've been loving and using lately has been the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. If you have been here for a while, you will know that this was literally my favorite primer for, I'd say, about 2-3 years at this point. I would not do my makeup without using this. It is such a good hydrating primer, and it actually does make your makeup last all day, and as well it makes your makeup look just a lot more flawless because of how hydrated your face is. Like, I don't know if you can see. And just while I'm letting that sink in, I'm just gonna let you know what is on my brows. So on my brows I have the Got To Be Glued brow gel, and then I also have, not the brow gel, the hair gel, and then I have the P. Louise brow pencil in the shade hazelnut something. Usually I would use the Refy brow pencil. However, I ran out of that and I haven't been bothered to order it again really. That is what I usually use in my brows. That's why I just didn't show you, because I just thought there was no point in showing you my brows when I don't actually have the products that I would normally use with me. Okay, so for foundation I use the NARS Natural Radiant Foundation, and this is in the shade Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc is the shade that I use when I am pale, and to put it on I literally just use a beauty blender. Now the reason that I use this foundation when I am pale is because I find with a lot of pale foundations you tend to have a lot less coverage than the foundations when you're tanned. However, this is the only foundation that I have found that when I am pale it still gives me quite a bit of coverage. So this foundation has been my go-to, and for autumn and winter I tend to like a bit more coverage. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's because I usually end up breaking out more during autumn and winter than I do when it is summer. Okay, so that is my foundation done. So for concealer now, I'm going to go in with, of course, the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. This literally never changes no matter what season it is. I have quite dry eyes, so I need a kind of a hydrating formula, but I also want something that's a bit more high coverage, so I usually tend to stick with this. I use mine in the shade Marshmallow. It is not the lightest shade, but it is one of the lighter ones, and I just put it on my eyes, on my under eyes, my forehead, my chin, and any breakouts that I may have. As you probably noticed, I tend to like leave my nose area just because that's where I tend to get a lot more cakiness, so it's where I tend to like avoid putting product. And then to blend it in, I just go in with my beauty blender. I just want as much hydration as possible on my skin, so using a beauty blender versus using a brush, it allows the moisture that's obviously in the beauty blender to go into my skin. I tend to do my forehead first, then my chin, and then on my eyes. And then I tend to leave my spots a little bit longer, just because the longer you leave a concealer sit, the drier it's going to be. So then when it comes to blending it out, the coverage is going to stay in that position. Okay, so now of course I'm going to go in with a cream bronzer. So I'm going to go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour Wand in the shade Light to Medium. I know I have slated this a million and one times purely for how cool toned it is, but it is the only cream bronzer that I like for when I'm pale, and it's the only cream bronzer that gives me a really nice glow. And again, you guessed it, I'm using my beauty blender just to blend it in. So yeah, when I am tanned, this contour wand in this shade, it doesn't work for me. So I tend to stay away from it when I have tan on. Obviously, as you can see, I definitely do not have tan on, so that is why I am using it now. It's really nice if you are someone who doesn't want a lot of coverage. It's great for someone who doesn't want to look like they have a lot of makeup on, but they still want a bit of color on their cheeks. I do find that it does only work when I am pale. However, it does give a lovely glow. When I am pale, I like to have a lot of glowy products on my skin as well, so it doesn't look as lifeless. Obviously, when you're tanned, you've got like different dimensions on your face, but usually when you're pale, you kind of just look like a flat surface. So I try and get some glowy products into my skin to add a bit of dimension onto my face. Okay, and for liquid blush, we're going to go in with the same range, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wand, and this is in the shade Pink Chasm. I love this no matter if I'm tanned, no matter if I am pale, no matter what time of the year it is. I love this. It gives your skin such a nice glow, and the colour of it is lovely as well. So if you're someone who likes a pink blush, this is one for you. But it also as well, if you're someone who likes blush but not to the extent that some people do, this is such a nice product to add into your collection, because even though it looks terrifying at first and it looks super pink, it blends out beautifully and it's quite sheer. So if you wanted a little bit more, if you wanted to add a little bit more coverage to it, you could just add on a bit more product. But if you are someone who wants just a light flush, then definitely just put on the smaller amount. Okay, so now moving on to powder. I'm going to be using the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder. Mine is the translucent one. I don't think there is any other colour, but that's just the shade that they put on. I really like this powder for when I am pale, but also when I'm just not doing much at all. I wouldn't use this powder if I am going out, purely because the same powder on it is not enough for me. However, coming into the autumn winter months, my skin, like I said, is so dry, and this powder is the only powder that does not make my skin feel tight. It doesn't make my skin look more dry than it already is, and it also doesn't change the color of my skin. So when I'm pale, it is very hard for a translucent powder to actually look translucent, because a lot of the time translucent powders actually have a bit of color to them. I just take it in the like little lid, and I'm gonna take a brush this time. I'm gonna take this little brush here. This is the P. Louise 673 brush, so it's just like a dense small brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to tap and brush into it, tap off the excess. And I like to start with my forehead first. Now the reason I like to start with this first is because I'm quite an expressionate person, and if I raise my eyebrows while the products on my face are still wet, it is going to cause like those lines in your skin to form, and that is not what we want. Now as you can see, I'm really pressing this into my skin. I'm really working it in. I'm not just going done. I'm really working this into my skin, and that is because if you tend to be the person that, you know, just dabs it on, off they go, you probably will find that your makeup doesn't last as long. Whereas if you spend a bit of time pushing the product into your skin, it's going to make it last a lot longer, and it'll also make your skin look a lot more flawless. Now like I said, I am an expressionate person, so now I'm going to go onto my chin and my smile line. So I'm going to go like this and really push that product into my chin. If I just leave my chin like this and set it, it is going to set that crease in place. Whereas if I go like this, it is exposing my full chin, and it's going to make sure that the product inside is going to last. So next thing I'm going to do is my smile lines. Again, like I said, I'm an expression person, so I need to fill those smile lines in. Also my camera's flashing red, so we might have to take a quick break, but hopefully I'll get through powder without needing to charge it. And then finally what we're going to do is our under eyes. So I'm going to retake my beauty blender, blend out any creases that I've set, keep looking up, take the brush and really set under my eyes. Now I know people can be afraid to set under the eyes for the fear of looking cakey. However, if you don't set it enough, your under eyes are actually going to crease really badly throughout the day, and it's going to make it look worse than if it is a little bit more cakey to begin with. Remember, setting sprays are a thing. So again, take some powder. Don't be afraid to load up the brush a little bit. Obviously don't absolutely drown your brush in powder, but put enough on that it's going to set your under eyes, and just again really push it into the skin. And if you need to touch your eyes, does it still feel a bit wet? If it does, go back in with powder. Now for the rest of my face, I'm going to take the Blank Canvas F22. I'm going to take that exact same powder on a massive dense brush, and I'm just going to set the rest of my face. Now you're probably thinking, Leah, why are we setting the rest of your face when you just explained you want all the glowy products? Even though my skin is dry, I still need to set my face, because if I don't set my face, my makeup's going to come off. And the best part about this powder is it still lets the glow, as you can see, of the other products through. So we don't need to worry about oversetting, because the products underneath are so glowy and this powder is so light that the glow is still going to shine through. So I'm actually just setting everywhere that I didn't set with the smaller brush with the bigger brush. Okay, we're back. So I really hope the angle hasn't changed too much or the lighting. It has been about an hour and it is currently 4:20, so it is quite dark. So we're just gonna keep going and hope for the best. So the thing that I find most important when it comes to makeup is setting spray. I actually set my face twice. So the first time is straight after my initial powder. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless setting spray. This setting spray is the best setting spray. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna shake it and I'm gonna spray it on my face. And I'm just gonna let that dry in. The reason that I do 2 sets of sprays is because the first time it's gonna just set in my base makeup, and then the second time is gonna melt all of the extra powders that I put on top together. So for bronzer, I'm gonna go in with, of course, the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Medium Dark. This is my favorite bronzer of all time. If you know it by now, no matter what shade of being pale or being tan is, I will always use this bronzer. This bronzer is my favorite. I think their baked formulas, especially MAC's, are the best. But the reason that I like it is because it's a baked formula. It's a lot lighter, it's a lot easier to blend, it's a lot fluffier, and I always tend to find that you can't really go overboard with this, or at least that's what I tell myself. So I always take it on a P. Louise 638 brush. This is my favorite brush for bronzer, and what I do is I take it on my forehead. So basically everywhere that we put the cream contour is where I'm putting this bronzer. What it's gonna do is it's gonna add just a little bit extra coverage to the places that we had the original bronzer. And as well, like I said, because it is a baked bronzer, it's actually gonna make my skin look really smooth as well. And as well, I find with baked bronzers or baked products in general, they also tend to add a little bit more glow as well. So for blusher, I tend to go for a more glowier blusher coming into autumn and winter, and that is because one, my skin is super dry, but also when I'm pale, again, I need all the dimension that I can get. So I like to go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk blusher. This is their Cheek to Chic blush. So it has like the blusher on the outside and kind of like a highlighter on the inside. My favorite blusher brush at the moment is the Revoluna or 04. It's just like a really fluffy brush. So I tend to concentrate my brush on the outside, letting it go into the middle only a few times, tap off the excess, and I like to place this kind of like up on my cheekbones. I just think that that is the best place for me when it comes to blusher, just so it doesn't drag down my face any more than my face is already rounded, dragged down. Now you can put it on your nose and stuff like that, but because I'm quite pale, it can sometimes just look like I just have a really red skin. Okay, now I don't use highlighter. Personally, I find highlighter can come across quite glittery and quite unnatural, and it almost tends to make your makeup look quite cakey, especially if you're someone who suffers with texture on their cheeks. It tends to make your skin look a lot more textured than it maybe already is. So I'm just gonna go back in with my setting spray and set my face, and then let that dry. And again, like I said, that is just melting in the other powder products that we put on top, so it just makes everything look a lot more seamless. So while that's drying, I'm just gonna go in with some mascara. This is the Maybelline Lash Sensational. To be honest, I don't find a mascara that does like amazing things for me. Mascara to me is mascara. The type of brush that I do prefer is a plastic wand. I feel like I just have more control with it, and this formula is quite good. I naturally have quite short lashes, so nothing really helps my lashes. I do use lash serum, but I'm just not, I think it's because my lashes are so fair as well, that makes them look shorter. So I'm just gonna curl my lashes. I just use the Morphe curlers, they are my favorite. So I'm gonna go do that and then I'll come back for lips. Okay, so mascara is on. I always find when I put on mascara, I feel like a lot more put together. So I'm gonna go into lips now. So I tend to stick to just like a really like nice like little pink or like a nude. I don't go anything other than that. So I just use the 2 products when I'm pale. I use the Charlotte Tilbury lip liner in the shade Pillow Talk. That is just a standard product that Charlotte Tilbury does. I feel like everyone knows it, everyone has it. And then I just go in with Fenty's clear lip gloss. Obviously, as you can see, this is definitely not clear, but I promise you it is the clear one. It's the shade Glass Slipper. So I literally just go along my natural lip line and fill in my entire lip. And the reason that I fill in my entire lip is because I'm not going to be putting on any lipstick, so I want to make sure that my lips are fully coloured in. And then I just go in with a gloss. Again, a gloss just makes your skin look more hydrated, makes your lips look more hydrated. And as well, coming into autumn, winter, my lips get so dry. I just prefer the look of gloss as well. And this gloss, even though it's quite thick, I don't feel it on my lips as much. So there we have it. So that is my final makeup look. I really hope you guys enjoyed my autumn makeup routine. This is what I tend to do when I'm pale. Obviously when I'm tan I have a different makeup routine, but to be honest, coming into autumn winter the chances of me tanning are very slim, especially when my skin condition starts to act up. Don't really put tan on. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. But if there's any other videos that you would like me to film in the next couple of weeks towards autumn and Christmas, please let me know and I'll happily do it for you. But yeah, that is the end of today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed and I will see you in my next video. Bye.